Friday night at Maison Sorian was supposed to look successful. Every reservation slot showed full. Yet Zuri Okafor could see 6 empty tables from the open kitchen. Again. Table 19 sent back the short rib, Bae Haejin said. Zuri frowned. Overcooked.
No.
He said it was forgettable. That was worse. Executive Chef Nam Judi's signature dish was technically flawless. Precise temperature, immaculate presentation, expensive ingredients, and painfully predictable. Zuri looked toward the return plate, then made a decision she knew she shouldn't. Give me 7 minutes. She charred a fresh short rib, rebuilt the glaze with fermented pepper, balanced its heat with sweetness, added silky sweet potato puree and sesame greens, then plated it with the restraint expected at Maison Sorian.
Korean technique.
A quiet echo of West Africa. Haejin stared. Chef Nam will kill you. He'll have to wait until after service. The new plate went out. 10 minutes later, the server returned. Empty plate. The guest wants to know why this isn't on the menu. Zuri smiled. Then she noticed Chef Nam standing behind her. He wasn't smiling. You changed my dish. The customer didn't like your dish. Several cooks suddenly became fascinated with their stations.
Nam stipet lo.
You had no authorization. Zuri met his eyes.
No.
Then don't do it again. He walked away. Haejin exhaled. You enjoy unemployment. Zuri returned to her station.
No.
I enjoy customers finishing dinner. 3 days later, Maison Sorian's management gathered around a polished walnut conference table. Revenue was down again. Repeat bookings had fallen. Food costs were climbing. Chai Siren, the hotel's food and beverage director, clicked to the final slide. We increased the tasting menu 12%. Zuri looked up. She wasn't supposed to speak.
She did anyway.
That won't work.
Silence.
Chai slowly turned.
Chef Okafor?
You're losing repeat customers. Charging the remaining ones more doesn't solve that.
Chef Names Jo tightened.
Zuri. But she had already opened her laptop. I've tracked 18 months of menu changes. Chai stared at her. Why? Because nobody else seemed interested. That didn't help. Zuri displayed her numbers.
Uniaten course.
Dining duration. Ingredient waste. Declining lunch traffic. Customer comments describing the restaurant as beautiful, technically impressive, and emotionally cold. Then came her alternative. Ember table. Smaller menus. Open kitchens. Premium ingredients without ceremonial excess. Korean culinary discipline blended naturally with global comfort food influences. Strong lunch service. Seasonal dishes. Pricing people could justify returning for. Chai closed Zuri's laptop. You were invited as culinary staff. Zuri calmly reopened it. Then culinary staff should probably be allowed to explain why people aren't eating the food. Nobody moved. Haejin looked down. Chef Nam closed his eyes. Zuri knew immediately. She'd crossed the line. The argument continued in Che's office. You mistake confidence for authority, Chef Nam said. And we're mistaking exclusivity for relevance.
Chai stood.
This restaurant has served ministers, celebrities, and international executives. And they're coming less often. Enough. Zuri should have stopped. Instead, she delivered the sentence that ended her employment. Management has confused expensive with desirable. Che's expression hardened. You're terminated. Zuri went silent.
No shouting. No pleading.
She returned downstairs, removed her chef's jacket, and folded it carefully. The kitchen watched. Haejin's eyes were wet. Zuri. Don't. Zuri placed the jacket on Chef Nam's desk, then looked across the beautiful kitchen. Your food isn't failing because it lacks technique. Chef Nam said nothing. It's failing because nobody remembers how it made them feel. She walked out. What nobody realized was that the executive salon beside the restaurant had been occupied. Iteo had heard almost everything. Bring me the dish.
Im Seokyu looked confused.
Which dish? The one she made. Minutes later, Zuri's short rib arrived. Teo tasted it, then took another bite. Why did they fire her? Seokju shrugged. Difficult personality, apparently. Teo looked at him. That wasn't my question. By midnight, Zuri's ember table presentation was on Teo's desk. He expected recipes. Instead, he found economics, labor projections, kitchen footprints, ingredient cross-utilization, average ticket targets, lunch throughput, waste controls, expansion models. 47 pages. Teo leaned back. She didn't design a restaurant. Seokju nodded reluctantly. She designed a platform. And they fired her? She told senior management they didn't understand their customers. Do they? Seokju glanced at the declining revenue figures. Apparently not. Teo closed the presentation. Find her. Zuri had already begun packing her apartment when the meeting request arrived. She nearly deleted it. 2 days later, she entered a nearly empty restaurant in Mapo. Teo waited at the best table. He pushed a familiar document toward her. Her presentation. How did you get this? Does it matter? Yes. A flicker of amusement crossed his face. I asked. Zuri remained standing. What do you want? Teo gestured around them. The restaurant was attractive. And dying. Miron Holdings owns this location. My condolences. He almost smiled. It has lost money for 11 months. Then close it. I'd rather give it to you. That made her sit. Teo explained. 90 days. 1 location. Fixed renovation budget. No celebrity launch.
No limited capital.
No public association with his name. She would build Ember Table exactly as she claimed it could work. Zuri studied him. And if it fails, I close the restaurant. And what happens to me? You'll have been right loudly in 2 restaurants instead of 1. She stared at him, then laughed. It was the first time she'd laughed since being fired. You're very irritating. So I've been told. Zuri looked around the empty dining room. Ugly lighting, wrong furniture, oversized menu. Terrible flow between kitchen and tables. She was already redesigning it in her head. Teo noticed. When do I start? She asked. Monday. Zuri extended her hand. 1 condition. He waited. If you hire me to prove my idea, you don't interfere because you dislike 1 bad week. How many bad weeks do you expect? Enough to learn something. Teo shook her hand. Then learn quickly. As Zuri stepped outside, she looked back through the restaurant windows. 3 days earlier, she'd walked out of Maison Sorian carrying a cardboard box. Now she had 90 days, 1 failing restaurant, and exactly enough money to prove everyone wrong. What she didn't have was certainty. And perhaps that was what made her smile. For the first time in years, if she failed, she would fail building something she actually believed in. Opening night of Ember Table was brutal. 27 customers. Zuri had staffed for 60. 1 lamb dish took 19 minutes. The charcoal chicken created a bottleneck at the grill. Her most ambitious plate required 11 separate touches and collapsed completely under volume service. At 11:30 p.m., Zuri sat alone at the counter surrounded by order tickets. Teo appeared across from her. Successful evening? She looked up. If you've come to enjoy this, order dessert. He glanced around the empty restaurant. 27 guests. I can count. Your projections said 65. My projections were wrong. That answer surprised him.
No excuses.
No blaming marketing. Zuri opened her notebook. Chicken stays. Lamb changes. The mushroom starter needs fewer components. We need 3 fewer people on weekdays. You're cutting your own menu? I'm fixing my own mistakes. By week 2, she introduced a fast premium lunch service. By week 3, office workers were queuing outside. Zuri spoke to customers herself. Every unfinished plate became a question. Every delay became data. Teo occasionally watched from the back. She treated criticism like an ingredient. Taste it, understand it, adjust. By day 87, Seokju entered Teo's office carrying the numbers. Profitable. Teo looked up. Already. Seokju placed the report down. Apparently, difficult women are good for margins. Teo smiled. Find 3 more locations. Zuri rejected 2 of them. Seokju nearly choked. You asked for expansion. I asked for good restaurants. These are prime locations. One has terrible ventilation. The other has no evening foot traffic. This is how chains scale. This is how bad chains scale. Their arguments became legendary. Eventually, Zuri approved 3 sites, but refused to duplicate Ember Table exactly. Gangnam became sharper and faster. Yeonam emphasized charcoal cooking. Hanam developed an intimate late-night menu. The philosophy remained consistent. The restaurants didn't. 3 became 6. 6 became 12. Each opening carried the same principles: disciplined kitchens, controlled costs, memorable food, and enough freedom for local chefs to understand their neighborhoods. One evening, Seokju dropped a financial report onto Zuri's desk. She looked at him suspiciously. What? I owe you an apology. Can I record this?
No.
She grinned. He pointed at the report. Ember Table isn't a restaurant anymore. What is it? A platform. For once, Zuri had no clever answer. Success brought attention. Then came an offer from one of Asia's largest hospitality groups. 50 restaurants. Immediately. Huge signing payment. National advertising. Zuri's face across Seoul. She brought the proposal to Teo. You've read it? Yes. And, take the meeting. She stared at him. You want me gone?
No.
His answer was calm. I want you here because you choose to be. So Zuri attended. For 20 minutes, the offer sounded extraordinary. Then she reached the operating plan. Frozen sauces, pre-cooked proteins, reduced kitchen labor, centralized menus with almost no chef discretion. Zuri closed the folder. The executive smiled. We can have your name above 50 doors within 18 months. My name? Your brand. Zuri pushed the proposal back. You're not offering me 50 restaurants. The executive frowned. What would you call them? 50 signs. She stood.
I'm a chef.
I need kitchens. And walked away. Zuri returned with a different plan. Teo and Seokju sat opposite her as she presented. 50 locations. But gradually, 5 regional training kitchens. Central purchasing. Strict ingredient traceability. Local menu flexibility. Profit sharing for senior kitchen leaders.
Structure de promotion pathway.
Seokju stopped her. Why are dishwashers included in management development? Zuri looked at him. Because talent doesn't always arrive wearing the correct uniform. Silence. She remembered cooks nobody noticed. Porters with exceptional knife skills. Servers who understood customers better than managers. People waiting for someone to look twice. Teo closed the proposal. How much equity do you want? Zuri blinked. You're asking me? You're not becoming my employee. Something shifted in her expression. They negotiated for 3 weeks. Hard. Sometimes loudly. When it was finished, Ember Table hospitality belonged meaningfully to Zuri. Teo supplied capital, property access, and infrastructure. Seokju built the expansion machine. Zuri retained culinary control. Restaurant 13 opened. Then 17. 24. 31. 43. And finally, 50. 5 years after Zuri had been fired, restaurant number 50 opened in Busan. Before service, she stood alone in its immaculate kitchen. Framed on one wall was the handwritten menu from the first Ember Table. Still sentimental? Zuri turned. Chef Nam Judi stood behind her. She hadn't expected him.
Chef.
He looked around. 50 restaurants. Apparently, I was wrong. Zuri folded her arms. About firing me?
Namsha Mauta Dwight. No.
You really were difficult. She burst out laughing. Then his expression softened. I was wrong to believe difficult meant wrong. Zuri bowed. He returned it. That evening, after the final guests arrived, Zuri escaped to the rooftop. Teo found her overlooking Busan's lights. 50, he said. You counted. I financed them. Of course I counted. Technically, you open one. Teo looked offended. I financed considerably more than one. You gave me keys to one dying restaurant. And what did you do? Zuri looked through the glass toward the packed dining room. I refused to let it stay ordinary. Teo handed her an envelope. She opened it. 2 plane tickets. A vacation? Yes. I have 50 restaurants. That's precisely the problem. Where are we going? Somewhere you're forbidden from inspecting the kitchen. Zuri handed the tickets back. Absolutely not. Teo laughed. Years later, people would tell their story differently. They'd say a powerful Korean mafia boss met a fired black chef and opened 50 restaurants for her. Zuri always corrected them. Lee Tae-oh had opened one door. She had built everything beyond it.